Hey, what's up, guys? Mystic Shot Podcast. Let me lower the notifications.
What episode are we on now? 19, 20?
19, actually.
19 getting there.
I know. Slowly and steadily. Hold on. Let me lower the...
So steady like a ranked grind, yeah?
Wow! We coming in strong! Nah. My ring grind has been slow. I don't know. Well, I mean, we can get into it later. But Tricky has definitely been helping me a whole bunch. So I had to bring him onto the podcast. Talk to him about, just a whole bunch of different cards, whole bunch of different, just Legends of Runeterra stuff.
Yeah, we got a lot of new cards coming. We got, the last set of the Call of the Mountain expansion, if that's what it's called. And yeah, some good stuff coming. The fact that we have 3 new champions should hopefully change things up a bit, because I'm just a little bit tired of everything at the moment. It's gotten a little bit dull.
I mean, I feel like everybody's biggest thorn in their butt is go hard. But I mean, we could get into most hated cards a little later. But I appreciate you coming on, Tricky. I don't know if
it is great to be on.
I appreciate it. I don't know if Gomez is he might join us a little later, but one of my first special announcements was this was supposed to be, I don't know, because he didn't show up. I don't know, but this is supposed to be Gomez's final episode, because he's gonna be leaving actually.
Oh no.
Yeah, because
he was his own stream and his own brand, or he's starting his own podcast, rival podcast going on.
Yeah. He's starting his own podcast with I don't know if you know Janky.
Yeah, it rings a bell.
Yeah.
Oh yes, it does. Yeah.
Yeah. He said he's gonna be starting a podcast with Janky, so this is gonna be his last episode on the Mystic Shot. I don't think they had a name yet, but
make sure no copyright infringement there on your own brand there.
I didn't have a name yet, but I know he said he wanted me to tell everybody that this was gonna be his last episode. Yeah. So I appreciate you definitely joining us every single time, bro.
I make an effort. It's a fun podcast to watch, and hopefully it'll be as fun to be on right now.
Oh, of course. Not too much will really change. I mean, we might have to change the time, maybe, because
okay. I suppose if you've Gomez in one time zone and the two of the rest of the back in the States, there's no reason for you to be getting up that early.
Yeah, exactly. But I think we still might get up like kind of early, because I still want to catch the EU people that,
of course, yeah,
come and watch and stuff like that. But I don't know. We still trying to iron out the time, but the time might change. It might not be like 8:30, 9 o'clock. We might catch some Z's here and there. But
yeah, that's fair. I mean, most of you people, you don't go to bed at 4 in the afternoon, so you got plenty of time.
But other than that, that's pretty much it. What else would I have? I had another announcement, but I need to literally, I have a notepad and I just never write on it. I literally have a notepad just for Mystic Shot stuff, and I just don't write on it. I don't know why, because things slip my mind.
Seems like a good idea.
It was
just right now to have it with you, that would work.
Yeah, exactly. It was an amazing idea when I went to the store, and I'm like, yes, okay, I need to buy this, because I know my brain is like scattered sometimes, and I just want to write things down. But then it's like, I just don't write it down. I don't know. But anyways, so we have Tricky here today. He's our special guest. So I'm gonna give him some time to talk about some of his TCG background and what got him into Legends of Runeterra, and anything else you wanna share with the stream, and also with the because we're gonna upload this to YouTube as well. So anything you wanna share?
Good. So look, thanks very much for the introduction. pretty excited to be here. So as mentioned, I'm Tricky. I have been playing lore pretty much ever since it came out of the open or the closed beta, and been loving it ever since. So pretty much have no experience with card games prior to this. I mean, I tried Hearthstone back I don't know, a year, 2 years ago. Wallet couldn't really afford it, and it was not fun to be stomped in like every single game because like, wow, I have this one good card. He has like 7 of it. I was like, huh. So look, that game just wasn't for me. I gave Duel Links a try as well, which was quite fun, but also there was that bit of a paywall to it, and I felt as though you weren't rewarded as much for learning the game and learning combos and all this as you were for just having better cards than the other guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, when it came to lore, and I saw, I think it was actually like a suggested ad because I'd been like browsing lots of card game related stuff. And I saw, closed beta or open beta starts now. I'm like, well, I want to get in on that. And yeah, it's been fantastic. It's been a really fun game. It rewards exactly what it is I'm looking for in a card game, and I've been grinding it ever since. So this season was the first season I actually hit Masters, which has been, it was a nice achievement. I've been working really hard at that. It was a nice achievement. Putting in the hours, putting in the grind. And after that was able to coach a few other players as well and hope and get them up a bit through the ranks.
Yeah, nah.
I've been fun as well.
Nah, you've been doing a good job with coaching. I mean, you definitely helped me. You definitely. I can't say for anybody else, but I'm sure you did a good job.
I mean, I've got some all right reviews from people so far. I mean, I'm still waiting on the first message to come in saying, "Yo, Tricky, thanks very much for all the help. Finally got into Masters." But I've got a few guys up from like Diamond 3 to Diamond 1, and they haven't called me out on my bluffs and all that yet. So it's going okay.
Nah, I mean, I'm just slacking. I'm sorry, it's my fault. I'm just slacking.
I assumed as much. Not me that's gonna be wrong. Come on.
But but I'm joking. But you did a good job with me, honestly. You had excuse me. I know you had some patience. You definitely were helping me understand the actual mentality of, I don't know if you can you play like any deck?
I mean, don't be posting deck codes into the chat and expecting that I'm going to be gonna say with this little tweak or play like this we're gonna hit top 100. But I mean, I do have most decks. Obviously, I have my favorite decks. I like playing a lot of Ezreal Draven. Fiora Shen is just really good, and that's interesting. I love Sejuani Teemo, which is actually a pretty viable deck. But I'd be confident in playing any deck that isn't something like. I'm not great with aggro decks. It's just not my own style. I prefer a little bit of interactivity. I like being able to make my move based on what the other guy is likely to do in response, which you don't get the same, I suppose, feeling in aggro. It's very much a case of I'm going to play this card over and over. Let's go. Oh, well, look who decided to show.
Oh,
hello. Sorry.
What's up, guys?
Literally, I've just got back from a driving lesson. So that is what it was. What happened was because my driving lesson was supposed to finish at past, but I got gridlock traffic on the way back, and so I was literally just quickly, and that's why I couldn't actually check my phone or send a message because I'm driving. So it's not like I'm excuse me, instructor, you understand? Let me just quickly. Honestly, I'm so sorry.
Nah, you're good.
So sorry, everyone. I'm sorry.
You good.
But Tricky, buddy, how you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Good to hear. I'm sorry.
Wait, did you have a driving test, or you were just
lesson?
Lesson?
Just a lesson.
Oh,
So,
okay. I was about to say, I'm like, yo, when I come to UK, I know what's up.
Hopefully by that time I would have passed and be driving like I mean, to be fair, like it's one of those things where I never had to learn how to drive because of like where I live, but now I need to drive where I live, so that's why it's important. But anyway, that's not important. Cards! Card games! That's important.
Tricky was going over him, just some important facts about him. Like I had told you. I think I had told you and Swerve how he was helping me with the Ezreal Draven deck. So he was,
nice.
he was just going over how he was helping other people, and then I said I was slacking because I'm still not masters, even after he helped me. I am literally Diamond 1 20 LP. I'm not. I just haven't been playing for the past 2 weeks.
I mean, Tricky just looking over his shoulder, just like, you're letting me down.
I just haven't been playing for like the past week. Honestly, I haven't.
I tell you, you're not getting a refund if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Nah. But no, he was pretty. He was good. He was good.
Yeah. Great to have you on, Tricky. Great to have you on.
Good to be on, and good to get to chat to the both of you.
Yeah.
I feel like he definitely helped me get in the mentality of playing Ezreal Draven. What I was asking him was, can he play any deck? Which I mean, I was just curious if he could play any deck, honestly. But I wouldn't have been surprised. I mean, I wouldn't have been surprised. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I got that. Sorry. There's the slightest lag. That's like, okay, who's talking? Am I talking? But like, yeah, some decks like aggro decks, like I'm saying, they're just a different way of thinking entirely, and you know, you have to be pushing damage the whole time. You don't have the same luxury as you do, let's say, in a Draven Ezreal deck or any sort of mid-range type control deck of, I think I'm going to pass here and see what he does, because if you ever pass an aggro, your opponent's going to be like, oh my god, thank you for the break, and I'll pass back. That's it. So you have to be pushing damage the whole time. You only get to do so much because of that. And I just prefer the interactivity. I like being able to say, as you know, some people might say, aha, you've activated my trap card. Yes,
you know.
Yeah, for sure. But I feel like when you play Ezreal Draven, it's a little like you said, it's a little bit more. You have to get into a certain mentality, because you're not. I mean, I'm not saying like you're not trying to kill them with Ezreal, or you're not trying to kill them with Theron and stuff like that, because those are your finishers. But you also have to get into a certain mentality where you have to bring them down to a certain life. And once you bring them down to that certain life, you're like, okay, here's the go.
Now we go. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Like that's the whole thing about that deck, is there are certain thresholds where you know, okay, unless they have X card, they're probably dead.
I win. Yeah. That's it. Like as we mentioned in the game I was playing with you, we were looking at the time for burst speed wins, because when you have level Ezreal, you can do that. It's a case of just tiptoeing about it, and then suddenly bang, I win, you lose, and I'm just going to do this whole big combo now because you let me in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. And I feel like I wasn't playing like that when before Tricky decided to give me some lessons, which. Him being able to give me a few lessons and get me on that mentality is just, I can't say anything other than thank you, bro. Honestly, that's amazing.
Well, it's one of those things where literally you do different decks run different ways. What I'll say, so for example, obviously Gomez runs a lot of pursuit decks. So because I do that, I play it in a certain way. But I gave that deck to Faint, like a Faint HD, who's like another really good streamer, really good Masters player. But he literally was doing it, that he was throwing everything out, because he's mostly a burn player. He mostly is all about just throwing out everything, and then but that's, some decks don't play like that. And I was trying to say to him in chat, no, don't do that, don't, because that is to set you up for this type thing. But some people, they just get, oh well, I've got the card now, so I better play it now type thing, and not every deck runs that way. And so, but there are some decks where you literally do want to throw everything out, like you said, like aggro, you do want to be throwing everything out, because the idea of it is that you're trying to just like smash them down as quickly as possible before they get answers. So yeah. Yep,
exactly. It's just different mentalities for different decks, honestly. That's literally just how it goes.
I had a guy who wanted a bit of help playing Decisive Targon, which is the Darius and sometimes Draven deck. And I was on the call with him, I was helping out, but it was, even though it's more mid-range than aggro, it's still a case of, well, I have Ballista, 3 mana, 4/3 overwhelm. I guess we're playing that, but there isn't really much more to it, which is that's not my style. Now, it's effective, it works. Like obviously we see every meta has a really good aggro deck. Yeah, but yeah, it works. It's just a different style of play.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, it's because like you do get the people who just want to smash up there as quickly as possible. Because to be fair, aggro decks do probably have like the fast. Because when you're only playing for so much time during a day, when you've only got set hours, aggro's your best bet because it's got the fastest, quickest like turnover of okay, right, this game's only going to last this long. Either I get to a point where I'm gonna win or I'm gonna lose, and so you can just instantly. So for people who haven't got a lot of time, I can 100% understand aggro decks. I can understand why a lot of people use them. But when you do have the time, and it's more to you about the gameplay, and it's about the they do this, so I want to do this to counter, and to like playing chess, I must do this. But both routes are valid. That's what the whole greatness of this card game is. You can go down wherever you want, and there's
for example, really fun deck. It's a really challenging deck, and it also has good win rates. But you can't play it to climb because your game is going to take half an hour, and you still won't know if you're going to win. If you have a hard play and you play 40 minutes playing this one game and you lose, like I could have played 7 aggro games at this stage and maybe won 4 of them. I'd be up now.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. But oh yeah, Gomez. I didn't.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I said a few things before you came on. So I was going, instead of going over pick a card this week, I was just gonna go over the spoilers instead.
Yep. Yeah. No. Of course. Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. We've had a lot of them, and I'm so hyped for all of them.
I mean, if you want to say like you're like a hated card, like I know for me personally, a hated card for me is probably Go Hard. Me and Tricky both agreed on that. I don't know if you have a hated card, but those are the cards that's one of the cards that make me like cringe. Honestly, it tilts me. I don't know why. It really does.
Honestly, I haven't had any major problems at this moment in time, and I don't honestly mind the Go Hard mechanic personally. I think that it could be changed in certain ways that would make it a little bit more interesting, like it fizzles if it doesn't target, so it doesn't just instantly put to. That'd be a little bit of interestingness with it, but other than that, I don't really have too many issues. But if we're talking about the new cards and different things, like what's been said already about some of them, because I love like near enough all the new cards.
Oh, how you feeling about Spell Thief?
I love it. No, right. Here's the thing. Right. Here's the thing with Spell Thief. Spell Thief is actually going to require really good gameplay from both people, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's either you throw out as much quick little spells, like you throw out a Jerry Bot, you throw out Rummage, you throw out your Spinning Axe. You're trying to dilute the spell pool as much as possible, so that you can play your bigger stuff and it's less likely, or you try to not play. It's one of those things where literally, because it doesn't also matter about the person, your opponent. It does matter when you choose to play the spell shield, Spell Thief. Sorry, like in terms of you be like, okay, he's used that, I want that, so now's my best chance because he's only played this many spells. Now's my best chance to get. So it does actually take skill from both, from the opponent and from the person who's playing it to decide when to play it or what spells your opponent's playing to make sure. So I actually it's a really great concept in my opinion that works against a really spell heavy deck. I think it's a really nice concept. Personally,
yo, imagine you Spell Thief, you get an Invoke card, and you get the Great Beyonder, and you pour emote at them. You just bomb emote at them. You're like,
cards that are overpowered in one region and should be there for a reason. It's like, where do you see this one?
Yeah. I honestly think it's really smart the way that it's been done, because the fact that it is because legitimately I thought that Spell Shield was just going to be on Zoe herself, and it could have been like, once your opponent plays a spell, get a fleeting copy in hand, like type thing, of like the first spell that they play, which then still requires them to then play like a terrible spell first, and then you just get the fleeting copy of that and that. But this way is also interesting, as I said, because it's the gameplay plan of, okay, I've got to either dilute that spell pool or not play spells at all. Like it's that kind of mentality.
And that's exactly what good card design is, especially in Sense lore, where that's the number one thing: fun, interactive gameplay. And yeah, I think it's really well designed.
Yeah. No, I think it's really well designed as well. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure somebody is gonna get messed up by it. I'm sure they're gonna steal your deny at the
Well,
perfect time. I know it's gonna happen, but I think it's a fun card, honestly.
At the end of the day, it's not like the nab mechanic in that it's not taking that away from your opponent. Your opponent can still rightly play that spell, and it doesn't take anything. It's not like it's thiefing that spell away from them. They've totally got the right to play it, but they've got the decision of that's now put that into the card pool of spells that they've done that can be then used against them. So it does take a bit of smart. It's not just you no longer have that anymore like type thing. Admittedly, I do want to know whether or not the spell has got to be played or what I'm trying to say, right, is it depends on how it interacts and whether or not it's after the spell's been cast or once it's been
once it's on the stack.
That's once it's on the stack, because basically
I was thinking the same thing.
So that somebody does play deny to deny one of your spells, if you then play it, can you then get that deny that's technically not been cast yet because it hasn't actually fulfilled its purpose to then deny their deny? That's the one interaction that I'm interested in knowing what happens there. Yeah. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
For that.
I would also like to know if the opponent gets to see the card pool that is offered to the opponent. I imagine not, similar to how the opponent can't see it during our invoke, but that would certainly change how we see the card.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that. But yeah, that it does take a bit of smart playing around, and I honestly think it's really great card design. I also want to know whether or not if your opponent does play Pack Your Bags, because technically that is a spell, whether or not the Pack Your Bags becomes one of the things that you can choose from. It's technically a spell that they've played, so instead of just getting, so you might get a Go Hard, Pack Your Bags and something else. You can instantly get that.
I'd imagine you can do it.
Yeah. That'd be quite an interesting thing.
Cards interact in the game thus far. It seems as though Pack Your Bags is a valid spell of its own, and you need the condition of never having played Go Hard to get it. That's how you get it in your deck. You don't need.
I think you can. I think you will be able to. That would be so crazy, but yeah, I think you will.
It'd be amazingly. I mean, that is just unbelievably funny if you can. I mean, for me personally, but to be fair, I'm one of those people who I am a little bit different from all the competitive players, because I never consider myself to be competitive. But I kind of like the little elements of RNG and whatnot for me personally, because I think that as a streamer and as a streamer who's trying to entertain people, entertaining moments come from that kind of thing. And I think that it's also nice when those kind of cards are in tournaments, because when you're casting or when you're watching, it's those quick swing things that happen completely out of randomness that are just, he just pulled it out of the bag, type thing. And that's what I think that those kind of moments are great personally for the entertainment value that they get. I know that obviously for gameplay and obviously if you're really into it and you really want to be known, they've got this and this, I don't want to be worried about randomness. I can completely understand why really competitive players hate it, but as somebody who's watching, I would prefer to have that stuff. That's all I'm saying. I like it.
Closed deck list crew, yeah.
I mean, closed deck list. It is closed deck. I massively would think that's a better thing, because it allows for trickery that is unexpected. Terms of
more exciting. It's you can lay out a bit of bamboozle, which is exciting. It's interesting. It gives you that moment of, oh wow, this is not what we thought it was at all.
Yeah, exactly.
It's because people were posting on the Reddit different things, and so obviously there was that deck where they were literally, somebody had put together a Shadow Isles Freljord deck, which was
Nivea aggro.
And it had one copy of Anivia in, and the rest of it was Misrafe aggro or fearsome aggro type thing. And that's genius, because your opponent is expecting, well, that's a control deck, so
I'm rolling appropriately.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that little extra element of it then forcing, because it does mean that rather than just seeing, okay, that's their list, I can have their list up continuously as I'm playing, so I can be like, well, they've already used this or they haven't used this. That is a skill in itself, but at the end of the day, you are just reading off of a list and going, okay, for me personally, I think the real skill is not knowing and being like, well, I've got to play around this because they could have it. And I like that kind of thing personally, but I know that's not for everyone. I know that's not for the really competitive. I would say closed deck list and then open deck list when it gets to top 32. That's what I would.
Yeah.
That's personally how I would prefer it. But
I feel like it would force people. I feel like it would force like the people that we call the pros in our scene. It would force them to have to like, you know, put their front foot forward and be like, okay, you know what? If they want to play a trickery deck, why don't I play a trickery deck?
Because the thing of it is, as somebody, as I said, a more memer deck man like me, I can't play a pursuit deck because the second they say pursuit, it's like, okay, right, I know that's coming out at some point, so I shall plan appropriately. But against somebody who doesn't know, then that's what pursuit's like gloriousness is that if somebody's like, what the hell? I mean, some people can tell when you're playing a pursuit deck because a pursuit deck runs in a certain way, but if you don't know, you're like, what the hell's my opponent doing? There's suddenly 30 cat of overwhelm hits on, and they haven't got denied, they haven't got avenge, they haven't got a way of dealing with it. It's such an amazing feeling.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Personally, I like that.
No, I can agree with that. I can agree with that. I
So
feel like it will make for funny times for sure.
So are we being...
like lower levels, and and once you get to the real important stuff, fair enough. Let's treat the occasion with grandeur and
yeah. Are we getting into the new cards?
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry.
Where do we start? A lot of them.
Yeah. I was about to pull up some stuff. Just give me 1 second.
By all means. I feel that one that nobody's really thinking about properly at this moment in time, which I can 100% understand why, because it's at the first onset of it, nobody really looks at it and goes, I can see where that goes, is the Ionian landmark. Personally. But I do like the idea of being able... So number one, Yasuo comes to mind immediately because of the recalls. But also, so in Ionia, there's a lot of cards which actually can get good value from being recalled and replayed. So the 2/1 elusive, he's elusive for this turn when played. Mm-hmm. Play him, recall him back, put him back out again. The keeper of the faces or whatnot, when you play it, it gives everyone +1 for that round. Put it back, throw it back out again with an elusive board.
5 mana 4/4 or 5 mana, one gives you a 3/3 buff to something in hand. Yeah,
exactly. That would be an amazing one to be doing with it. Yeah, which is the tiger thing. I can't remember. Bejeweled something, or I think it's called.
Not sure.
But if you're playing Yasuo, playing it with Noxus, the general guy, the fearsome general, which is guy who every single time that something has been recalled or thing. So True. Literally, with the landmark on the board, you can play him forward, use him as a blocker, and then recall him and replay him, and he comes back better than what he was because he's got the additional thing, the additional recall in that thing. So you could literally just continuously just use him as a blocker or as an attack, which the person has to deal with, but he just comes back again. I think that's such an amazing thing that people are overlooking as a possibility. I mean, obviously, it can't be used as a response to a spell or whatnot, so if somebody tries to vengeance it or somebody tries...
It's essentially slow speed, which makes me think why you wouldn't just prefer to run 3 copies of Retreat.
Well, the thing is, obviously, you could still run Retreat in that deck, but it's a continuous one that you're getting every single round, which you can be using on... Because obviously, you only have so many Retreats, or you only have so many recalls, whereas this allows you... It's a continuous one that's being put out so that you don't have to worry about, oh shit, I need that to be in hand. You could continuously do it for it. I think there is still viability to it. That's my point, is what I wanted to say.
Mm-hmm. No,
I'm sure we'll get to that page of cards at some stage. We can sort of lock horns on whether it's playable or not.
Yeah, I'm sure we will.
But starting from the top, we got the new keyword augment. I think it's a pretty cool keyword. It's different. It's not something that we've seen before. And then we got Victor, of course.
Yes.
Which I definitely think is gonna open up a lot of different ways to play PNZ, because I feel like that's what PNZ was missing. PNZ was missing. No. I was about to say P&Z is like garbage, but P&Z is not garbage because
I will slap you in the face.
No. P&Z is not garbage. They're not garbage, but I feel like they definitely needed another way to use their tools. So Victor allowed for them to use some of those cards that they create and stuff like that. They can use those cards. So Victor, basically, he's a 4 mana 2/4 that round start creates the hex core, which the hex core gives him a random keyword, and then he flips when he creates when you've played 8 cards, so he doesn't have to see them, so he can flip in deck, which is really
for Victor. It makes him very likely to level up quite consistently.
Exactly. Yes. I agree. So and then also I think people are downplaying the laser. I think people are downplaying the MK laser. Honestly, it seems decent. I'm not gonna lie. It seems
if you're playing it in a good enough draw deck, right? Because at the end of the day, that is diluting your card pool down slightly when there's different things you want to be getting. So if you're playing it in a good enough draw deck, but you need to remember as well, what's amazing about that is that he kind of near enough works with everyone. He's the perfect champion because he doesn't fit somewhere. This is the only place you can play Victor. Victor has actually got so much plays all across the way in like near every different region, but he works so well with everyone in his region. So obviously he works with Teemo because the mushrooms are a created thing. Mm-hmm. He works with Heimer because obviously all of that is created, all that's created, and as well the things that you're throwing at the 0-cost bots are actually augmenting him and helping him. So it works really well there. He can kind of work well with Ezreal because his spell means that it's a continuous target on your opponent's units, which means that's helping level Ezreal up, and then when Ezreal's leveled, that 2 damage going into the opponent. But it can work in all manner of different regions. Obviously, people are saying that gems in Targon is going to be an amazing thing for.
Nutty.
I mean, it's been said that it might make Shards the Mountain, a dead card, potentially come back because just creating a handful of gems, which costs 0 once Victor's leveled, and then just throwing that on top of the elusive cat. Or
a handful of gems. Let's say you have 10 gems. That buffs Victor by 20 attack.
Yes. Seems pretty good. Seems pretty good.
What I really like about Victor's design is that, unlike some of the cards we got in the previous set, or maybe a set for that, like, okay, obviously it was required for something like Leona or Diana just because they brought in a new keyword with them. As you said, Don, it's not that they're locked to a specific thing. Like, Leona needs Daybreak. You have to play her with Daybreak. Diana needs Nightfall. You have to play her in this very specific format to have hope of leveling her. Victor, you could put Victor in with any region and expect him to level at some stage in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, why the hell are you not putting him in Freljord with Enraged Yetis and just getting those, and then throwing him in there, counterfeit copies to make loads of copies of Enraged Yeti, which then all becomes 0, because once he levels. Get the 5 Yetis in the board, and then just smack down, was it pack mentality, make them all 7/7 overwhelms, but plus Victor will have overwhelm as well, whatever he's become with all those Yetis. GG.
Seems pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, seems pretty good.
That's why there's such crazy things like that become possible with Victor. It's a really good design.
And a nice level up as well. You know, it's a pretty slick level up.
I mean, the animation. On point. I swear that every single time they just improve and just raise the bar just that little bit extra of every single one, just like the animations given. Even Zoe's animation, I like the little Poro going through the Poro.
Oh yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, her animation, her level up animation is really cool. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. They've done well this patch so far from what we've seen on animations. Even Stealthy, for example, as you mentioned earlier on, that's a sick animation.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, throwing it back and throwing them back in, it's amazing. If we do we want to talk about Zoe a quick little bit as well, because on the look of her, she firstly looks really weak, right? Because I mean, she's kind of the same stat line as Teemo, It's only 1 health, and 1 health can be picked off with by so many different things.
Right now, especially.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact that, like, basically, she has to see 10 cards, different cards as well, is very important to remember. It has to be like 10 different cards. Really powerful level up once it's done, because that's just a game lasting effect. Once she's off the board, doesn't matter. Exactly, it's just a game lasting effect, which is actually a really powerful effect. I like the idea. I was thinking about playing her with P and Z, and because obviously the Heimer bots then become additional cards for 0 cost once you play spells.
Your chance of surviving.
Exactly, which is suit up as a card in P and Z that can really help, and Bastion as well with Targon, and potentially the Sparkologist might make a re-thing for saving her.
I think you need to play Sparkologist if you want to play Zoe and have any chance of keeping her around, because obviously Bastion is 4 mana, and still every single thing kills Zoe, so you need a constant source of keeping her alive, and her supporting cards are pretty good at that.
Yeah, I think you need some kind of way to keep her alive. That's
I like the suit up
thing.
idea of making her 4/4 so that elusive becomes even more funny.
I'm thinking that one straight away.
Exactly, like that. But yeah, I honestly think it's a really good champion again. Like in terms of it's a really good game defining once she levels up. It's hard to get there, but when you do, it's nice. Depending on the kind of deck that you're running that with, because admittedly, obviously, so you need to make sure there's kind of like big units in there or augment units in there that can be working off of card creation. Throwing out a 0 cost Poro cannon, and then that Poro, and then the elusiveness of that Poro then being given to everyone, so you can kind of throw one out but then keep one back for the later when she levels. There's so many different things, so many different ways of play with that idea, which is amazing.
I do think hard is an understatement, though, for her level up. Her level up is going to be one of the most difficult in the game, if not the most difficult.
Yes, no, it's going to be very difficult, but I feel like it's a very rewarding thing once you get there.
Yeah, not like the high cost, high reward is fun. It's just to make. Look, let's not catch judgment on how possible it is just yet, because the cards, you need to get that sort of feel for it. And it's very easy to make rash judgments too early, but
it's one of those because for me personally, I know definitely because its competitiveness might not be big, but its funness will be through the roof. Its competitiveness might not be high, but fun. It's high. So yeah, that's the thing with it. Is there any other?
Yo, we skipping over all the other stuff. Yo, what about
is there any other things that people really want to bring out?
What about it that's theirs? That card is decent.
It's definitely, which I do like the design of that card, but I do like it because it's them and Demacia are the only two where it's a unit-based removal, right? All the rest are spell-based. From what I remember, I think those are the only two unit-based landmark removals.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's quite interesting the fact that they've kind of spread it between the two, whereas some of them are units and some of them are which are just spells. But I don't actually mind this card because any way where it is multiple use, right? The Targon one is kind of if you've got to be running that deck, which it landmarks yourself. Or there's no point in playing it because if you're not playing against somebody who's playing landmarks, it's just a dead card. If you're not playing, that's me. But whereas all the other,
we're talking about divergent paths, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, divergent paths. Yeah.
It is draw a landmark from your deck or destroy a landmark. That works if you're not running landmarks, which obviously you will be if you're running that. If your opponent's not running them, it's a dead card. So Whereas all the other removals are target a landmark or a unit, and that I like it that it is which it can go either way because it does make it so it's not a completely dead card if you're not running landmark yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that.
And then also the Demacia,
Captain Akira,
the capture, I think
how one captures landmark, I don't know. Either she has very big pockets, maybe the cape is like extendable, you can like drape it over.
She has got abilities. But she runs the army. She could just take down a landmark with the army, mate. That's how she captures. You know, like how you send the army in to capture like a territory. That's what she does with the landmark, mate.
She just says lift up the landmark and just carries it somewhere else. Like,
we're taking it back to Demacia.
We're taking it back.
I know, like, when you were walking inside some like plaza in Demacia, like, we got it.
First unit outside of Targon that instantly has spell shield as well.
Yeah.
Yes, which makes it very, very hard to remove because an 8 mana 6/6, you know, obviously it's outside the range of pretty much most, you know, number based removal. I want a word, but yeah, you know what I mean. But yeah, having spell shield just makes it that bit more resilient, and it's a fine stat line as well. It's an elite, which is something that, you know, maybe goes unnoticed every now and then because elite synergies. Silver, what's the name of the Demacia card Challenger creates an elite in hand?
Oh, I can't remember. I know what you mean. The Lancer? Is it Lancer?
Yeah, is it Silver Lancer?
Something like, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think it's Lancer.
This can create Captain Akira, which, you know, is very strong. It means you don't actually have to main deck her. You probably want to, but
yeah,
it's possible to be different avenues.
Giving her that elite thing is really important in Demacia decks because there's certain decks which just work completely off of elites, and so throwing her in there as being part of that is actually really, really smart. Because I mean I'd
say one cost of mana.
Yeah. So I think that's why she's not like as statted as a lot of the other 8 costs, is because you need, because of that elite, because the elite keyword, it would be a little bit like crazy with the certain things that you can do with elite. So I don't mind it. I think that it's a good card for Demacia.
For Demacia.
Exactly. What do people think of Demacia's landmark?
I was just about to say.
Really good.
Yeah, it's really good.
Go ahead. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah.
I mean, I like it because my immediate thought goes to Undying, and every single time that Undying comes back at the beginning of the round, he gets given Challenger. So that was my first thought. I mean, you got to make sure that you're killing it on your defensive turn, so it's coming back on your attack turn to get it. But honestly, it works so well with what Demacia does. Demacia is all about putting units on the board and then buffing those units, and the fact that it gives +1/+1 for the turn with challenge, you are taking something from your opponent, getting a positive trade, keeping your side of the board big while diminishing your opponent's, and that is kind of what Demacia is all about. So it's really smart in its design for the region it's in.
The fact that it's a summon effect on summon rather than play makes it very, very good as well. Just because you have, as you mentioned, with Undying and they're coming back and getting things. Grizzled Ranger becomes crazy. Imagine if we get Nerf Grizzled Ranger and Badger Bear with this.
Yeah.
Imagine. You get a 5/2 with Challenger and Scout. You just pick their strongest unit, then you get a Grizzled Ranger. It's going to be a 4/5 with Challenger.
Yeah.
I'll take that. Yeah,
a lot of fun can be had, I think, with this. It's really well designed, but all the ones that we've kind of seen, all landmark wise at this moment in time, have been really well because they can work in different ways. Even the Freljord second landmark works really well. Obviously, the resurgence of Bloodstash potentially coming back of the Crimson package with Freljord, and the fact that obviously it works really well because once Vladimir's on the board, and everything's got tough, then he could just go forward and he could just continuously do his drain move without a worry. Because normally you'd like to keep things on one side of him to make sure they're not going to get drained because they've only got 1 health. But now it doesn't matter because they've all got tough, so it doesn't matter. His 1 damage means nothing.
It's also the only landmark so far, or going to be the only landmark, that its ability can proc on the first turn it's out. Every other landmark, a round start effect or something like that, this isn't a 3 mana do nothing this round. It actually can get some value, which is... makes that a little bit better as well.
Yeah. I mean, the amount of things in that region, like Scar Mother, obviously, and those other units, which instantly every single time they take damage, they go up in attack, it's really, really, really good for the region as well as the potential combo with Noxus, which what's his face, really, really work. Because I mean, as well, the funny thing is, you could throw that in, wouldn't you? You could throw that in with Bilgewater and all the things that do damage to themselves, so immediately give them tough on the turn that they go out. That's what I mean. There's certain things that even if, once you think about it, it's like that can work. It's not the first initial thought is Noxus, but potential in other regions as well. You know,
Rusty Card becomes a 1-mana 3/1 at the top.
yes.
hey.
That's what I mean. It's certain things like that that it opens the door to so many things which are actually interesting.
Oh my gosh, I just thought about that. Oh my god, that's dirty,
Yeah.
yo. That's dirty. Oh my, yo, I just thought about it. Tom Kent. You just give Tom Kent tough.
She instantly comes in with tough, yeah. I mean, and obviously if you're playing with Freljord, then you're playing around that kind of snacks one where you make him like cold snacks, whatever the hell it was called, where like obviously you're frostbiting to then take him in. So that's what I mean.
Makes him very, very good.
Yeah.
It's one extra health on every single instance of damage.
Yeah,
it makes a lot of difference.
Yes, it really does. So it's really it's yeah, again a really good card that some people like the initial thought, but then there is ripples of other potential things that you can do as well, which are fun.
Nah, I'm seeing a whole bunch of lines now.
See the parts come together.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's
because then you play that Crimson card that damages everything on board, and you basically give everybody tough, and then you swing for it.
well, that elusive in Bilgewater who does 2 damage to himself is only going to be doing 1 damage to himself
Every time,
with tough. And if you've got certain little buffs and things that you could potentially get, like Troll Chant or something like that, to keep that health stat up, you can keep that elusive on the board a lot more than what you were
supposed to.
Going to be on the board. So.
Yeah.
I think it's going to survive 6-7 turns now.
Yeah,
exactly.
Wow,
so.
That's crazy. Yeah. Wow. I just thought of yo Gomez is
the powder monkey stays on the board, or the whatever the things that creates the powder monkeys. Monkey Idol stays on the board for longer. They used to combo him with Demacia so that you could get that guy who, whenever somebody dies, buff everything by Dawnspeaker. But now you can just throw him in with Freljord and the landmark, and that's another way of using that kind of. See, that's what I mean. There's different combos that, like, you know, everyone's that was crazy and cool.
Die. The opponent's not going to actually challenge it or anything like that, because it's going to be getting 1 extra attack every single time. Like, you're not going to send your challenger in to kill the 3/3 Monkey Idol. It's like, I'm just going to wait a second.
Exactly. That's what I mean. So that's what it's really smartly done, and yeah, I think it's the combinations which people don't think about, but Gomez thinks about, because he's an insane man who just decides what's the stupidest thing I can do. What's the stupidest thing I can do here? Yep, exactly.
Nah, I don't think that's stupid. That's really smart, actually. Honestly, I looked at the original landmark, and I wasn't saying it was garbage, but I'm saying it will have its own place. But it has its own place now, like.
Yeah.
Like that card has its own place now, to be honest, because I mean the crimson cards were always missing like maybe like 1 piece, and this might be the piece, honestly.
It might be. In fact, it's in a different region. Does somewhat region up. But to be honest, you're going to be playing those cards with Freljord and the whole Scar Mother, the Scar Crew. Some people who actually know the lore might hate me for that, but yeah, the Scar Crew. Well, it's going to happen anyway. The fact that it's in Freljord isn't any sort of nerf, or it is direct off to the Crimson cards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think it is for sure. But also, what is everybody? I have no clue. But what does everybody think Riven is gonna come out with? Because I have absolutely no idea. Looking at those cards that Brazil spoiled, I have absolutely no idea. Because I thought she was gonna have something to do with her shield, because that's her whole thing in League. But the first card is freaking discard the lowest cost in your hand. So I have no idea now. Like, actually. I don't know. Maybe she's going to have something to do with discarding cards? I don't know.
I saw some comments that Riven's level up will be, I've seen the enemy have an empty board. Which is pretty interesting, yeah, because she does have synergy with the followers that have been released so far in getting rid of the enemy's things, either when they play them, in terms of the quick attack challenger, or the thing that strikes the enemy at the end of every round, and also in movement before they actually happen with the spell. So that could be pretty interesting. Now, I imagine the actual level up is going to be something to do with her sword and the various fragments of that, but it's pretty fun. I would like that as a card design. It's very different from everything else we've seen so far.
No, that'd be crazy. I'd be like, what? It levels up when empty board. This level up better be like not that crazy. Cause what if you're playing a deck that literally just like what if you're playing War Mothers? Like they don't get a board. So like, what are they gonna do? I don't know. It'd be very. I'm very interested because I do like the way that they've taken champion design at this moment in time for this group. So I'm very interested to see what's going to happen.
For what they've done so far, I think there's a lot that can be done. And I imagine Riven is also going to fit into that. I do not need to play one specific faction or whatever.
I just want to say I love the design of Pesky Spectre.
Why am I not surprised?
What I'm saying, right? Number one, throw him in a Hecarim deck because the funny thing is like literally all you're doing is you're putting those ephemerals out which are going to go into your opponent's deck, and then if they play them and give them back to you, then yours are going to become more valuable because of Hecarim. Yeah, Hecarim's going to be given +2/+2 like to them. It is diluting your opponent's card pool so that they're not going to be getting the cards they want. If you're playing this, obviously, as I said, I will most likely do this with PNC. Yeah, again, just for some counterfeit copies to make even more copies of this man. For the purposes of the fact that I'm working with Hecarim, trying to put as many of them in my opponent's deck as possible. Because imagine, that makes Deep... If you're playing against Deep, it makes it really funny because you're just throwing more cards in their deck. Like, oh, you want to get down to 15? Not today, my friend! Not today! I keep throwing more and more of these little men in there. The idea of that is just amazingly funny to me. So you're diluting your opponent's card thing. It works because yours then become powerful. Because if you can get Hecarim, then those are actually like free-frees rather than 1/1s.
Shadowlands already has death synergy as well with stuff like Ravenous Butcher. I mean, technically you can play Pest Vector into Ravenous Butcher and has 2 cards, but still you get a 3/2 on the board.
But you could also... I was going to say, you could play that with Prankster and Neverglade Collector, and those things dying on your side are actually taken like directly from your opponent's Nexus as well. So that's what I mean. There's synergy in there that can make it a really fun deck.
And they're free. They're absolutely...
Exactly. That's what I mean. Neverglade Collector on the board, and they're just throwing like loads of these little men out that cost you nothing, and as they're dying, they're just like, you can use them as defensive units. And then just to the grave with you. This is perfect. This is like such an amazing zombie kind of deck where it's just like, there we go, just throw my undead army at you, and it's all it's doing is I'm just reaping the benefits, and I think it's a really good design, personally, because I like the idea of it is a way of screwing with your opponent that isn't just straight up on the board. It's like the shrooms, right? You're putting something in your opponent's deck that your opponent doesn't want, and
we have to deal with it later. And like the fact that this is obviously a step above shrooms, because shroom doesn't appear as a card in your enemy's deck, and then their hand are like, I cannot use this. And also, looking at it, they don't want to play that card because they're going to get more back to you. So it is just a dead card in their hand. And having that knowledge, eventually if people are playing this, they'll be able to hand read the fact that this particular card has not moved. I wonder, is that Pesky Spectre, and do I even need to consider that as something that the enemy's going to play?
Yeah. So that's why I like it, and that is my speech about why it's an amazing card that deserves more love. Is over.
I think people are looking at it as like, it's another thing that you can put in your opponent's deck, and it, I'm not saying that it could be. I mean, it could become crazy. It could definitely become crazy, because
I think if you work hard enough for it to make it crazy, it's fair. If you have to spend as much mana to as counter copies, if you run counter copies, for example, that's 3 slots. You could have used something else. True. If you're going to go all out making this crazy, that's fair game.
I mean, but what if you start?
you know me.
I mean, but
Crazy's in the name.
But what if you start top decking with your opponent and you're like, top deck pesky, top deck number 2, pesky.
They can block yourself, and eventually you're going to have like with Hecarim, for example, you're going to have a big synergy there. they who endure, why the hell not? You know, it's
Oh yeah,
it's
true.
every turn.
True.
Works with Callista
Endure.
as well to help level up Callista. It could work with Lucian to help level up Lucian if you were going to play with Demacia for just that knowing that you're going to get that rally. It's the same as why Evershade Stalker is also a very good card. It might not be able to block, but it can also work with potentially. It means that Nocturne is not just purely top. It gives him an option with Nocturne, right? Because the thing with Nocturne is those Nightfall creatures have to attack forward, and sometimes they're going to go into terrible trades. They're going to go into terrible trades you don't want to, but if you're trying to level Nocturne, you have to. Whereas with this, they're ephemeral anyway, and you can make loads of them. So solid, just throw them forward. Exactly, just throw them forward. And so it's a way, and yet again, it can work with Callista, it can work with Lucian and Hecarim, that card of making like loads of attacks. So that's why I think that both of those cards are actually really fun cards. And as a man who's always loved Shadow Isles with PNZ, you know, I love the whole thing.
I think Evershade Stalker is enough now to make Nocturne viable outside of a Targon deck.
Yes.
I think there is now finally enough, because that was always his biggest shortcoming. You can play Diana whichever which way you want. Nocturne was played with Targon, and that's it. Now there actually is something it can do.
Yeah, exactly, because there wasn't enough Nightfall in... because it had to be units that attacked forward, so the spell obviously can create a unit, the Unspeakable Horror. Yeah, there's so things that like you need to have the things, so that really helps out like massively. And the fact that they're fearsome as well already. I mean, I know that once he levels, he will grant fearsome anyway. It's a nice, but also it works pre-level up and post-level up, because once you start spamming those things on the board, his level up means that you're getting down continuously the attack of your opponent, and then once it's down past 3 and they can't defend, you just throw everything forward. So it works both ways, and that's why it's such a good card for Nocturne himself. Yeah. As well as we might. The spell that gives you Nightfall cards. You also have Moonlight Affliction, which is a Nightfall card as well, which you can get from Unspeakable Horror. You don't even need to be playing Targon to get this nutty double silence now. Yeah, it is an amazing card as well. I think personally, I like the idea of it for banter. But I always go with banter. This is the problem. I'm not a competitive man. I go with banter.
It's crazy competitive. Calling it right now.
Yeah. But also it's the fact that what I was going to bloody hell now my mind has forgotten what I was going to say. It can create the Horseman. It makes the Horseman the guy who he levels. He gets more damage every time you played a Nightfall card, who nobody liked because he literally would come down as a like terrible thing because you haven't played that many Nightfalls. He at least now becomes a little bit more viable in Shadow Isles. True.
Yeah. Horseman is actually okay. Maybe not.
I can't remember what his name is. I'm just going to call him Horseman because I remember it's got like
it doesn't matter. He's my good card.
He's literally just a fearsome card. That's what everybody remembers him as. But also, you guys are forgetting this crazy card, Moonlight Affliction. Nerf it already, bro. Nerf it already. Make it 10 mana.
I mean, it's a crazy card, but I still think that the most craziest card so far in this is the PNZ 2 mana burst speed, create a copy +1/+1. I still think that is the craziest card for me personally. I know that this can stop things from attacking forward. I know that's really powerful, but to me, the copy... yeah, and from blocking, yeah, sorry. But I do really like that. But it's a really good card in terms of... It's going to be very strong.
This card is very strong nuts.
Yeah,
this card is nuts. What
makes it so strong is that it has been a very strong benefit on both attack and defense. If you use it on attack, you only need to get the silence because... That's very good. If you use it on defense, you only need the silence. But if you enable a Nightfall, I mean, you just preemptively do this. You have, for 5 mana, an Ash, Harsh Winds, leveled Ash, Harsh Winds. You don't even care the fact that it silences those 2 units because they're not blocking anyway. It really is irrelevant what they have most of the time, unless it's something like a Yato and Backline or something like this. And yeah, it's very, very good. I see this card as being a 2-of in something like Nightfall aggro, as just a massive hit. I think it'll be fairly staple there, and the fact that you can just draw it eventually from Unspeakable Horror might only even need to run one of. It's a good card.
Yeah.
Very good card. I already am upset about a game I'm having next week losing to this.
Yeah.
So wait, I'm surprised that Gomez did not bring up Targon Peak.
I mean, I mean, if we want to talk about it, it's an amazing card as well. But no, the only one thing I quickly want to go back to about Moonlight Affliction. We will get into the Targon Peak because I do. It's an amazing card. I think all of them are, that's the thing. I think that every single one of these has been really well made. But Moonlight Affliction is the only way to stop it to hush your own minion. Would that be the only way, which would mean they can still block? That's going to be my question of that interaction in terms of if you were to silence your own with hush or something, would that still mean you can block? That's going to be a question.
Yeah, because it's not based on attack or something like we're used to with the pretty much only known can't block thing so far. Yes, the only way to block your unit is to push them before the round.
Yeah.
Also, you can't even if you have an affliction, you can't even use it on one of your own things to hush it because it is enemy.
It's enemy units, so that's what I mean. It would have to be hush as your silence.
Or preemptively have a spell shield and 4 mana for one of your units.
Or potentially, I think the only other thing that might get you round it is whimsy. Whimsy your own thing. I think that's the only other way of getting around it.
Right then, because Purify is just silence of power. So yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, true.
That's what I mean. So
Purify.
So there is ways of getting around it, but it's not easy.
It's miserable. I don't want to use Whimsy on a unit to block. It's literally a 4 mana. I take extra damage to the unit.
Yeah.
On top of what they've already done to you.
Yeah, it's not good. I wasn't saying it was good. I'm just saying it's your option.
You're not gonna like.
Yeah.
Ah man, yo.
But I always throw the unexpected Jerry rigs out and then defend me, Jerry. Yeah. But
okay,
Targon's Peak, amazing card, which actually is one of the cards which is it's plus and negative, right? Because it is I throw this out. And I leave it to the fate of the gods in terms of whether, because you don't know what it's going to make 0 cost on your opponent's side, and you don't know what it's going to make 0 cost on your side. So you basically have to run this as a really high value deck, right? So you're running a soul, you're running like a bunch of things which are like 8 cost or higher, most likely, to try and get the most
with this card. 100%.
Yeah, exactly. So you're trying to go as big man as possible. And it can be a massive payoff, but it also could be a massive downside. But I said, the Skies Descend, getting that for 0.
I mean, as well say, when you take the wheel.
Yeah.
Okay. Said Skies Descend at 0. Okay, dude.
But you have no guarantee. You have no guarantee it's going to be that unless you've only got that card in your hand. So it's one of those things where it's going to take a lot of really smart playing around to do this. But also, you don't know what's making 0 cost on your opponent. You could make something really big on your side. And
Aaron, for example, coming out turn 5, it's like,
yeah,
I messed up.
Exactly. That's what I mean. It's amazing things like that.
Now.
It's like, well, that can't be good.
The amazingness of getting something really big on your side, and then you've just made a 0 cost vengeance in your opponent's side, or a 0 cost ruination for your opponent, and they just go, "Well, good day, sir."
You can search this card and play it on turn 4 with with Frey or Targon by playing Divergent Paths turn 3, guarantee you find it. Playing Wording Stones. Divergent Paths turn 2, Wording Stones 3. You can play this on turn 4.
Yeah.
You can play any card you want on turn 5. Yeah. You don't get to choose, but it's possible.
Yeah.
That's strong. This is a strange card.
It's one of those cards. It's one of those cards where literally it is. I love the fact that it is for both players. I think that if it wasn't for both players, it would be a bit insane because you could, as you say, potentially get out anything on turn 5, and your opponent's not really going to have anything to answer that with. But the fact that it does it for both people, I know that some people will say, well, like, oh, I don't want to be helping my opponent out. This is a terrible card, but It adds fun.
There is, this is exactly what you mentioned earlier on in the when we were talking about those big random moments of, oh my god, he has only gone and done it. He's gotten the turn 6 ASA, or he's gotten the turn 5, etc. Yeah.
It makes sure.
So
I know what it's gonna do to me. I'm gonna have 9 cards in hand, and it's gonna make my Theron 0.
Or you're
I legitimately thought you were going to say, I know exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to have a full set of things in my hand. And it makes my Jerry rig cost 0. The only card I don't want.
Nah. It's gonna make my Thermal cost 0, fam. It's gonna make my Thermal cost 0.
Exactly.
Actually, just think of this. Thermal would still cost full even then, yeah? Yeah, it's still use all your mana.
Yes, it still costs 4.
Yeah.
I would be upset. You're just looking at your hand. You're like, wait, it didn't do anything. Oh, fuck, it hit Thermal.
Oh, no. You see them play the turn 6 Mind Splitter, followed by a turn 8 Mind Splitter, or turn 7 Mind Splitter. Like, not only is your opponent or you going to get out a very strong card way ahead of time, you still have all of your mana that turn.
Yeah, exactly.
You can play a copy of the same thing. Like, turn 7, 2 Mind Splitters out, GG, go. Go next.
And I think that's what makes this card. It might not be like a 100% meta because it is just like it's so reliant on luck, but I do think it's gonna have some fun times.
This is a great card to play when you're losing again, when you need a little bit of magic to help you out, and this card is going to make landmark removal necessary.
Yes,
I agree.
If you see
this is that card.
Aggro, and you see something like Frey or Targon, you're praying you've got that P&Z card that the new Victor one that lets you destroy a landmark. You're praying because you don't want your 3 mana card to be free while they play Sky's Descent. That's not a good trade.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. Yeah. No, I don't know what you're talking about. That's fair.
Just because you're enjoying Esdraven now.
Exactly. But...
Nah, it's fair. I don't know what you're talking about, bro. It's fair. They play their 3 mana, their 0 mana on Get Excited, and I play my 0 mana Infinite Splitter. Isn't that fair?
Well, I mean, if they only have 3 health, yeah, fair enough, I'll take that.
But the interesting thing about this is that it seems to be that we're getting if every region is going to end up with 2 landmarks, because immediately, I'm not going to lie, at the beginning of this expansion, I just thought, right, look, I said, every region which doesn't have a landmark is going to get a landmark, and every region which doesn't have landmark removal is going to get landmark removal. So immediately, we just thought, okay, right, everyone's just going to get 1.
One.
But immediately on the first reveal with Victor, when there was a landmark in there for PSC, it's like, oh my god, they've changed the game on us! There's multiple coming out.
I think it's the only rarity landmark. Partly because it's a lot more niche, I feel, than some of the other ones.
Yeah. It definitely is, but I feel like it's going to be a lot of fun. So it seems like what they've established is that every region is going to have like a low cost landmark, so a 3 or 2 cost landmark, and then they're going to have a 5 plus cost one, because obviously the most high one is the 8 cost Freljord one. So I'm guessing that they're kind of just going to do it like that in terms of there's 1 low cost for everyone and 1 slightly more like 5 or higher for everyone.
I imagine maybe one or 2 regions might get left behind and only get 1, but that's fair. That's part of the course. Some regions have more tools and access to those tools than others. That's fair. That's part of the region identity.
Yeah. Well, it leaves the room open for them to add for future expansions to go. Well, we'll just throw another landmark into that region if they with another one. So it gives that openness if they have the options.
Mm-hmm.
Before we leave this page of, I don't know, I personally have the page open so I can reference all these cards at the moment.
Of course.
Solari Sunforder, just before we leave this one card, this is a really good card.
Yes.
Yes. Because it's 4 mana, it does allow you to, fill the slot of Leona on a turn where you don't really want to be playing Leona. Maybe you feel as though you'd like to bank a bit more spell mana and play Leona with a little bit of backup protection on turn 5 or something.
Mm-hmm.
And against this guy is... Yeah, this is just a great card.
Greatly statted. 5/4 is really good stats. With life steal, and also that then means that the Leona spell, if you're playing it on Vimji, means that he gets that life steal back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
as well as plus 2, which is like PvG, and if you played out the way, if you were still playing out the way, because it works really well with the Sun people because of the fact that their buffs, their buffs are yeah. So
there's not much to say. This is just a good card. This is a good card for Daybreak. It's not too strong. It's definitely not too weak. And I like that. I'm going to be running this in Daybreak decks for sure.
Yeah. Nah, I think it's a good card. Honestly.
I mean, the fact that they've actually given Targon a target spell as well now. It only does like 3 damage, but it's actually like it's the first time that Targon's got a other than in the Celestials, a target do damage to your opponent. And the fact it works with stunned things as well means that it helps with Leona, because Leona's all about stuns. So that's I can potentially work with her quite nicely.
With Paddle Star, yeah, there we go.
Yeah. So I think that's actually a nice use there. And the more stuns the more stun potential that you allow, it's very much hard to get Yasuo. Yasuo's already not highly played, and the main place that he stays is in Noxus anyway. Anything that they're trying to do to kind of be like, well, he might be able to be useful in Targon as well with these things.
Like,
makes it
even the deck that's going around the last few weeks, maybe, or last week or two, maybe you've seen it, the Leona Yasuo deck. I think Malway put out a video on it. It's popular. It has like a 43% win rate. It's just Yasuo needs, like, unless you have Yasuo in your open hand, your Yasuo deck is not going to be good.
Yeah.
So the fact there's more stuns is great, but we need a Yasuo ship eventually.
Yeah, because the thing of it is as well that does give, because the one benefit of the Targon deck is that, unlike in Noxus, at least they've got the 3-mana priestess who might be able to give you written in the stars, which gives you a chance of drawing him out earlier.
Because like if you play, let's say, turn 3, you play Star Priestess, you can definitely use the thing on turn 4. On turn 5, you can play Yasuo with plenty to keep him going. He's only going to cost 3 mana, and he's 6/6 of that as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it's quite an interesting trade-off of that in terms of like Noxus. He definitely has more damage potential. He's got more interesting things in Noxus, but I like that they are giving him options within Targon for potentially being able to do it, and it be still as, or maybe not as powerful, but at least powerful in its own right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Potentially viable. That's where we're gonna leave.
Yasuo for well, it has potential. I mean, it's because it's that chance of like the
he gets a C.
Like the 5-cost elusive, which gives everything with like a 2. Exactly. Like, gives everything with stun. Because I mean, number one, it hits Witcher, it hits old Ezreal, it hits Teemo, it hits people who are in the elusive slot who you wouldn't normally. But like, it's harder to counter. So it's interesting.
It hits most of the really. Like elusives, generally do have relatively low stat lines for that reason.
Yeah. That's why the cat is so insane, because it's got augment elusive and like it really go insane. It's got a 3 health stat line already. Like it's not easy to take off the board.
It's really not. Yeah.
Taking a look at all those victor cards, like when they introduced augment, I was pretty excited. I misread it firstly. I thought it was every time you play a created card, I get +1 for every created card you played up to this point. So if you play like 10 created cards and then slap down one of these guys, it suddenly goes up 10.
Yeah.
Which
it's not it.
Yeah, it's not. But still, it's a really cool keyword. And I made a Reddit post a while back asking like, what's P&Z's identity? And there's lots of disagreement, because a lot of people felt it was kind of missing one, like a concrete identity like some of the others have. But this really helps tie things together. Like, it is creation. It is, it's lots of various stuff. But now that actually can encompass into something a little more solid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, it's good that they kept P&Z in that kind of niche, kind of different, kind of category. Because I mean, even in League, even in the League lore, they are that's what they are. They're kind of the niche region. They're kind of the anything goes kind of region. Honestly, like you can find anything in Piltover. Honestly, that's how they go. You can find anything in there. Also, we didn't talk about Wiggly Blurtfish.
Oh my god. Okay, so actually, this whole page, yeah. Sorry. Homecoming and Wiggly Burblefish. Wiggly Burblefish. Okay, you're probably only going to play it when it's like as cheap as a 2-mana card. But, you know, a 3/1 with elusive that gives you a guaranteed jettison in the hand, because that's how that word works. Yeah, it's all right. It's Fizz support. Fizz needs a lot more support than this, but it's a good step in the right direction.
Yeah, that's it. I think it's alright.
What's really nice about this card is that obviously it works well with Fizz, and the fact that it's not like the Yeti where it has to be in your hand to receive its benefits. All it just has to do is any spell that you do as you're doing it, it's decreasing, and then it's giving you a spell as well. So it's really nice. And admittedly, its health stats not the best, but there is certain ways around it. This might see a refusion, which a bring back of Mind Meld in the. You can throw that if you've played enough spells. It's 0 cost, and then boom, Mind Meld. It turns into like a 13/13, and you put multiple of them down. I feel like it might rebring.
Mind Meld used to be, or was definitely intended to be Fizz support, just because like, firstly the card art is in with all of the sea critter style.
Yeah.
But it's just it was never quite enough. And now that we have something like Out of the Way, I know it's a different region and all. Out of the Way. Is this Seraphine's card?
What, Out of the Way?
Give it all.
Oh, give it all. Yeah. Yeah, give it all. Give it all.
Completely and utterly power creep, Mind Meld in every way.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, give it all is definitely a better card.
But yeah, like look, this is in PNC. These cards are in PNC. All containing one region is always good. Yeah, this could make Mind Meld kind of okay again, you know? Yeah. I say okay again. This could make Mind Meld kind of okay.
Well, it's the fact that so all the other things required you to have things on the board. So people who were using it before were using it with like Baba Bear because he's got a big health stat and elusive. So you're keeping him alive. He can still do a few trades, as well as the fact that you're now then like using Islander or the Navigator. And to make more things on the board so that you're then buffing them with Mind Meld. Because sometimes trying to keep that Bubba Bear alive is really hard. And at least this guy, you don't have to have kept him alive. Because obviously, because Mind Meld is such a really high cost spell, the fact that this guy, you can literally just throw him down the same turn before playing it. Or like you can try and see what your opponent's reactions are going to be. And like it opens up a chance for getting this out and then a massive elusive damage hitting in.
Yeah. This could be fun. We also have Boom, Ship, and Homecoming on this page.
Yes.
Homecoming, though.
Homecoming is just Ionia Crumble.
Yeah.
Yes, that is. Yes.
I say just. It's a fine card. You know, it's a recall. It's landmark, relatively inexpensive landmark removal.
The one thing that just puts it a little bit above Crumble is the fact that it's fast speed rather than slow speed. Because obviously Crumble can't happen, like this can happen during a turn, whereas obviously like Crumble, it's only like in between or whatnot. You can't do it like during if they're attacking forward. So this is actually quite nice for that reason as well. Yeah,
for sure. I think it'll find its place for sure.
I think Homecoming is a fine card. Like there are certain situations where you prefer Will of Ionia. But there are also certain situations where like in a deck that has synergies with your own recalls as well. Like as we talked earlier on, cards have strong play effects. This just becomes a strictly better Will of Ionia.
Yeah. Yes.
Because you're getting the value of taking something off your board, keeping it nice and safe, and playing again later on.
Yeah. Definitely, I feel like it's gonna have like some nice uses, and I feel like it's gonna help build some really fun decks.
Yeah, for sure. And then also,
it's cool. Oh, look at that! It's a tree house.
I mean, to me, it looked like a massive Christmas tree, like, for the time of year that we're currently in. But obviously, Boom Ship really good as well because of the fact that it could make it's the fact that obviously you could already have kegs on the board, which is increasing its damage, and then you're playing this, and then you're making more kegs that have just come off +1. The one thing is the fact that it's obviously slow speed, so it allows the fact that people can counter or kill your kegs beforehand.
Yeah.
But if you're playing unyielding on top of your kegs, this
Oh
just
my
adds
God.
more. This just
As
adds
one
more
does,
fun.
of course. Yeah, as
Of
one
course.
does. But
To be fair, Unyielding Kegs has been a banter, which a meme deck for a very long
I
time.
have burst speed and yielding kegs all over. Fast speed and yielding kegs is just so difficult. The opponent has to be at 0 mana
Yeah.
for you to, or less than 2 mana anyway, to be able to pull it off. When you do, it's so much fun. I'm
I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's easy. It's hard to do, but when you do,
but it's worth it.
It's worth it. It's worth it. 100%. But yeah, I think that was all the spoilers from now. I think that was everything.
Are we missing anything?
Because you went over Zoe already. Technically the Brazilian stuff is not out till today, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm missing. I think we've all seen it already and sort of seen some sort of translation of it. It probably won't make much sense what I'm bringing here until we actually get a bit more context to the cards.
Yeah, exactly.
Because right now those cards are fine.
Yeah. I think one of them got Challenger when it's summoned or something like that. The other one, like, discarded the lowest cost. What happened?
That's a good.
Oh, the one that was summoned to get Challenger?
Yeah, this is one that has quick attack or has Challenger, and when summoned gets the other keyword for the turn.
Yeah, that one was pretty good, actually. Yeah.
That's a very strong keyword combination. But look, it'll remain to be seen how strong they are.
I like the actual one, which is remove the lowest cost, because that does mean that your opponent has got to really be like crap. Like, I need to do something, because that could get rid of their bags. Like, potentially.
Low cost unit or low cost card?
Actually, I thought it was card.
I think it was card. I think. Don't quote me on that. I think it was card.
Everyone start quoting with people's on that one while we.
Yeah, exactly. While we tried to find it. But I thought it was card, but I might be wrong. You know what I'm saying?
I also may misremembering. That's a hard word to say.
Misremember.
There we go.
Actually, no, it does say weakest follower. Actually, I think.
Weakest follower. Oh, okay.
Weakest follower. Which okay, fine. So it doesn't do that, but it's still.
Also, if you're playing against Day to Endure, you are pretty much guaranteed to remove that card every time because it has one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very fun. You can get rid of light powers, which pretty much.
You don't need that. You know that win condition you had in your hand, buddy. Yeah, you don't need that.
Yeah, not anymore, mate.
Away with you.
That's funny. That's actually funny. But I mean, yeah, that's pretty much all the spoilers from right now. I think probably some will get spoiled today. We probably get Riven tomorrow.
Or they might save Riven until the day before release.
Yeah, I imagine. I think you mentioned this earlier. I think we're getting the leech cards from yesterday today. Then we're getting miscellaneous filler tomorrow, and then Riven the day before expansion. I can't wait
because it seems like boom, you throw Victor out at the beginning of which it would be. You throw Zoe out in the middle, and then just before cards are gonna be released, you show Riven. I feel like that's the.
If that's the case, Riven better be crazy.
Just in the game, I'd be completely fine with that. Download the pack.
If you just log in and it's just like, all right, we got new cards.
Yeah.
I do like the teaser videos. They give a bit of life to the cards and make it a bit more entertaining.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
For sure.
Yeah.
But
So is there anything else, or we all good?
Nah. I didn't have anything else. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I was just telling this to Tricky earlier. I have a notepad, but I just don't use it for the podcast. I need to literally just start writing stuff down and just. Anyways.
In a diary today,
But yeah, that was everything we wanted to go over. I appreciate everybody for showing up today. Thank you, Tricky.
Sorry I was late. But Tricky, thank you so much. Honestly, it's amazing to have you on here. You're an amazing content creator for Runeterra, so thank you.
I appreciate it. Look, I do try to add what I can in my own niche of the community. And look, it is a great community we have here. Like, we have so many different styles of content creation, such as your own, guys. And yeah, it's just good to be part of all this. You know, it's a good community, lots of fun people. And,
yeah, for sure. I will put Tricky's links below for everybody for everybody watching this on YouTube. To check him out. He streams on Twitch. I don't. Do you have a schedule?
Yeah, I stream weekdays at about 5 to 7 p.m. GMT and sporadically over the weekends.
Okay, so
GMT is like Eastern plus 5.
Okay, so so he streams pretty much those times. But I'll put his links down below. Like I said, put everybody's links down below. No. Yeah, I gotta spread the love. I can't just.
Indeed. I appreciate that.
I can't just be like, yo, you on a Mystic Shot podcast and be like, nah, I can't put his link. Nah, of course, I gotta put your links below, bro. I gotta, and of course, I gotta promote your tutoring. Well, not tutoring, but it's more like you helping people.
Coaching.
Yeah, you're coaching. Yeah.
Like I said, like I'm a first-time Masters player, but I do have some bit to give. So I do like that bit of free coaching. I don't feel like it's too much of a plug because it is literally free. But if anyone does want help, just send me a message. Do like an hour over Discord, and I'm happy to help you out.
Yeah, for sure.
That's.
But all right.
Decks just aren't quite getting Diamond 4. We can work on that.
I mean, won't you also help our bronze players out? Like, come on, they need some help.
I mean, yeah, I will help anyone that I can.
Exactly. So, mate, I might take you up on the offer, but I've always looked at it more. I would rather play the fun stuff and not worry on whether I win, lose, or draw. I don't care as long as I'm having a good time. I am the anatomy of the what's his face, the ASO emote of. I'm just having a good time regardless. That's me.
Man. Don't have a piece. Don't have it great. We move on.
Yeah, for sure. But
off we go.
Yeah.
But all right. I'll catch everybody next week.
See you, buddy.
I think we're gonna. I still have to iron everything out with Swerve and all that. But I think we're gonna start streaming on Mondays, later in the day, I believe. But I'm still trying to iron everything out because this is Gomez's last episode.
Yeah.
This is his last episode.
It's been amazing. It's been amazing, and like hopefully every now and then you will have me back.
Of course, for
better and talking bollocks.
For good old times, fam.
Indeed. But also, it's been amazing. It's been a true honor to be on here. It's been so much fun talking with so many different people, and so just. It's an amazing game. It's an amazing game. That's my main point. Yeah. And thank you all for listening to Mustachio curly-haired man ramble on about complete unimportant bollocks.
But I mean, we had a good time. Everybody had a good time. We had a bunch of people on, for you to talk to and stuff like that, and you pretty much share.
Exactly. The biggest honor.
You're welcome.
And you shared your wild and amazing opinion, and I appreciate you for showing up for the Mystic Shot podcast, bro. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna end it here because I gotta go to work in like an hour.
Fair play.
But I'll catch everybody next week and see you guys later. All right.
See you all.